I'll be asking several. I'll be asking the question in between because I have already got several questions from a lot of students through our online platform like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So today we are going to discuss about the Japanese language. So in the Japanese language, we have the language expert, that is Ridhima ma'am. So Ridhima ma'am is already working with us as a trainer for the Japanese language, and she has already trained a lot of students. And she will be instructing why to learn the Japanese language, what is Japan, what is Japanese language, what is the importance, what is the scope, and what is the benefit of learning this particular language. So I would like to introduce Ridhima ma'am. So ma'am, please, it is now for you. So you can start with your presentation part and you can interact with these other students as well.
Thank you so much, sir. So hello everyone. Konnichiwa minasan. Myself, Ridhima. I welcome you all in this session. Today, we are going to learn many things about Japan and its language. Like about Japan, its language, it includes many amazing and interesting facts about Japan, about their culture, and we'll study like why Japanese is different from other foreign languages and what are the scope and benefits after learning the language. Why should we choose a Japanese out of other foreign languages, which we are going to discuss in today's session. So first of all, I want to enlighten you the best part of learning any foreign language is basically learning foreign language make you multilingual, first point. And the next point is it make you different from the other crowd. Also, learning a new language is a fascinating adventure. I must say it is a journey full of excitement. Like in session, we learn something new about the new country, and we get many experiences of different style, like occasional challenges and every usual, unusual, unexpected encounters to the new culture. So let's begin. So our first thing is about Japan. Like, what is Japan and where it is located? So Japan is located in the East Asian part. Because of its location, the sun is very vast rises in Japan. Like आप में से काफी students को ये चीज पता होगी. Like Japan में सबसे पहला sunrise होता है. And the most important thing is it have vast technology and medical part. And the economy of the country is in world third largest. So basically, it's a very technological country. So moving to forward is why we call Japan as Nihon. Like many of you know about it. Like Japan is known as Nihon. Japan को Nihon क्यों बोला जाता है? It's our basic question. So basically, इसके पीछे भी एक फैक्ट है. Basically, Japan में हर एक चीज are based on facts because Japan is the hub of science and technologies. So basically, the people who have many facts are very much good in all the technologies and sciences. So basically, Nihon का मतलब क्या होता है? That's the main thing in this part. So basically here, Ni means sun and Hon means origin. Now what do you mean by sun origin? It means the place, the point where sun is originated. So basically, in the whole world, the very first sun rises in Japan. So that's why, as a respect to their country, the people of Japan called it as Nihon. Like Nihon means land of rising sun. So that's why it is known as Nihon. So next part is now let's move forward and see introduction to the language. So now we are going to introduce the language. So basically in Japanese, how we call the language of some country is will put firstly the name of the country, and for the suffix of language, we put go. So name of the country and after the suffix go. So it means the language of that country. So basically, Japanese language is Japan plus go. So अभी हमने पढ़ा like Japan को बोला जाता है Nihon, and Japanese language क्या हो जाएगा? Nihon go. So basically, Japanese language जो है बाकी सारे language से different क्यों है? Basically, all other foreign languages is based on Roman alphabetical script. But Japanese is different as it is based on basically Japanese own script, that is hiragana, katakana and kanji. So basically hiragana and katakana are the phonetic sound script. It have sounds that based on Hindi. So basically Hindi sounds, and kanji is a pictorial formation of characters. So we are going to study further about the scripts. Okay, so now we are going to study about scripts. So our first script is hiragana. So many of you have the knowledge about hiragana. So basically hiragana means it includes all the Japanese origin words, the words which are originated in Japan. So all the Japanese originated words we include in hiragana. Like we eat sushi. Okay, so do you know sushi is originated from Japan? So because of its origin, it's located in Japan, and its origin, its roots is from Japan. So we write that word in hiragana. So all the names of Japanese persons and the places of Japan and everything related to Japanese, like their name, their places, their cuisine, their food, anything which is originated in their country only. So we call all those things in hiragana. So we write in hiragana. So first script hiragana is included all those words which are originated from Japan. So our next script is katakana. So katakana script में कौन से words आते हैं? So basically अब हम बोलेंगे कि hiragana है, so हमें katakana की क्या जरूरत? So basically katakana is also very important. How? We'll see. Basically the katakana script includes the foreign origin words. So all the foreign origin words like our name or our dishes or our places or the name of other foreign country like American names, American dishes, or Italian name, Italian dishes, or name of any drinks like juice and anything like that which is not originated from Japan is included in katakana. So katakana includes all the foreign origin words. All our name is also written in katakana. And now, last but not the least, is kanji. So now we know the use of hiragana and katakana. So now, what is the need of kanji? So the need of kanji is basically Japanese language is borrowed from China. So the Japanese people borrowed this language from China, so and converted in a simpler form as their language. So basically that is known as kanji. So kanji is the pictorial formation of all the Japanese origin words. So the words which we write in hiragana are concluded in kanji. We'll make the pictorial formation of all those words and make it in kanji. So all the pictorial formation of Japanese origin words are included in kanji. So I hope now all the scripts are basically very much known to you now. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
Okay, ma'am. So we got a question from one of our student, Ankur. He's asking like how the Japanese is different from Chinese.
So basically, Chinese includes all the kanjis, and the people of Japan borrowed it from China, but they can't just simply copy it. So they make a simpler form of the language, and they concluded two different scripts, that is hiragana and katakana. Chinese didn't include all those scripts, and the kanjis are also not similar to Chinese kanji, as Chinese kanjis are very much difficult from Japanese kanji. So Japanese kanjis is a very simpler form of Chinese kanji, and in Chinese script we don't include hiragana and katakana. It is only included in Japanese. So in that way, Chinese is different from Japanese. If somebody learn the kanji, it doesn't mean that he or she know or gain the knowledge of Chinese. It doesn't like that. Yeah. Any other
Okay.
questions?
No, ma'am, that's it. And one
thank
more question we
Yeah.
got now.
Yeah.
If we will differentiate it, so how easy it is to learn the hiragana, katakana, and kanji?
So basically, hiragana and katakana are 46 characters script. So it is based on only sounds, like sounds of vowels, like a, e, u, a, o. So it's a very simpler form. So while singing the sounds, you can learn it very easy.
Okay, that's it, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So now let's move forward to our next script. Yeah. Okay. So now we are going to start with some greetings in Japanese. So many of the greetings must know, but now we are going to study more greetings and the different Japanese phrases which they use in their daily lives. So our first greeting is So our first greeting is good morning. So good morning is Ohayo gozaimasu. So now you can see here that here also the words are based on sounds like Ohayo gozaimasu. So like all those sounds, the script is based. And next word is good afternoon or hello. If you are meeting somebody in afternoon time, so you can greet him like konnichiwa, konnichiwa. And the next thing is good evening. So good evening we'll call konbanwa. So if you are meeting somebody in the evening time, so you can say this greeting like konbanwa. And next is good night. So good night you will say oyasumi nasai. Oyasumi nasai. So here it's a slight difference. Like here if you are saying this greeting to someone of your family or someone casual friend of yours, so you can only say oyasumi. But if you are greeting someone who is higher in social status or in age or something like that, so you will say oyasumi nasai, the whole phrase. It makes the phrase very polite. So you will greet them in a polite gesture. So next thing is congratulations. So congratulations is omedetou gozaimasu. Omedetou gozaimasu. And next is goodbye. So goodbye is a little rude greeting of Japanese. Basically, we'll say goodbye to all those people with whom we are not going to meet in future, or with whom we are not going to meet for a very long time. So for them only we can say sayonara. So it will not use with those people with whom you are going to meet the very next day or after a few days gap. So we'll not use with them. Only we use this greeting with only those persons with whom we are not going to meet for a long time or never. So the last greeting is hello. So basically, if you are meeting someone face to face, so you can greet them like konnichiwa. But if you are saying hello on a phone call, then you will say mush mush. So here it's moshi, but you will, in pronunciation, you will call it mush mush. So e का sound होगा, but proper आप उस पे दबाव नहीं डालेंगे. So वो out of accent हो जाएगा वरना. So now next is some very important Japanese phrases. So these phrases will use in Japanese people use in their daily day-to-day routine. So these are very, very important phrases for N5 level also. So in N5 levels, chokai is basically listening. So in listening, these all phrases play a vital role. So if you are learning the language, so you must know these phrases because it's really very important. So now we are going to start with very first phrase, that is, how are you? So basically, how are you in Japanese is O genki desu ka? I will repeat, O genki desu ka? And the next phrase is I am at home. So basically, in Japan, when the people come back their home, so they will say tadaima. Tadaima means I'm at home, I'm back at home. Then the person who is welcoming you at home, he or she say okaeri nasai. Okaeri nasai means welcome back home. Then Japanese people are very polite people. They have a very polite culture, and they show respect to each and every person. So while eating their food, before start eating, they greet the god for receiving the food. So every time, as per their polite gesture, they do greeting to the god and thanking him, like thanks for giving us food. Like they are feeling very thankful that they received the food from God. So like that greeting, it is itadakimasu. Itadakimasu. So itadakimasu means thank you for receiving the food. So basically, like you can see in this first picture, it is clearly visible that they are joining their hand before eating the food. So they are doing the greeting to God. So now next is see you tomorrow. So when you want to say see you tomorrow, so that is ja mata ashita. Ja mata ashita. It means okay, see you tomorrow. So here ashita means tomorrow. So now next is may I have your name? So when you want to ask somebody his or her name, so you can clearly say onamae wa. Onamae wa. So onamae wa means may I have your name? So when you want to ask somebody his or her name, you can say onamae wa. And next is thank you. So thank you will be arigato gozaimasu. Arigato gozaimasu. And after this, next is welcome. This is the welcome. It means like the reply of thank you. So if someone is saying you thank you, so you will say you're welcome. So that is do itashimashite. Do itashimashite. And last but not the least is I'm sorry. If you have made some mistake or some blunder, so you will say gomennasai. Gomennasai. So gomennasai means I'm really sorry. So basically, these all greetings are very much useful for you if you are going to attempt your N5 level. So all the students who are seeing this video, if you are attempting for your N5 level, so please go through all these phrases. It will really help you out. Okay. So now, sir, if you have any questions, so
I got a question. I got a question here. Like, how much time it will take to complete the first level?
The very first level is N5 level. Basically, Japanese languages consist of 5 levels. So the very basic level is N5 level. So N5 level will take 4 to 4.5 months, and you can complete this level in between that time only.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have studied about the language, about the country, about the script and their greetings and important phrases. So we have learned all about all those things which are very important in learning Japanese language basically. So now, besides that, Now, most important thing is Japanese culture, which will give you the motivation of learning the language. So basically, the culture of Japan is well known around the world. It includes its art, its culture, its science, its animation, and music industry also. So now we are going to learn about the culture and about the amazing facts which give you the motivation to learn the further language. Okay, so now we are going to learn all those things. So firstly, in our childhood, when we are in schools, so we all have heard the word that is origami. So all of you have heard that word. Like it's a small square size colored glaze papers. So in our school, we have made many things like birds, butterflies through those papers. So basically, this origami word is also associated with Japanese culture. Basically, origami is also originated from Japan. Here, ori means folding, like fold anything, and gami means paper. So whole the word origami means the art of folding paper. Like जो origami sheets होते हैं, if we fold them and made something like bird or boat and many things we have made in our childhood, all of us have this experience of origami. So I want to enlighten that origami is also originated from Japan. So the sense of origami is basically the art of folding papers, like how we fold papers and make a creature like a bird or something like that. So it's a very interesting part of the language or about their culture. Now, next thing which I want to introduce is the vending machines. Many other foreign countries also have vending machines, but Japan boasts of having a highest density of vending machines. They have many vending machines and which sell almost everything. While the first machine is that it sells cigarettes, but nowadays almost everything from magazine to flowers, chocolates, coffees, juice, everything are sold through the vending machines nowadays. So if you want to buy a cold coffee, so you can also set the temperature in vending machine. They have that feature also because of their high technology. They have that feature also, like you can set the temperature of the coffee, and like if you said you want a cold coffee, so that you will get the cold coffee out of the machine. If you said hot coffee, then you will get hot coffee out of the same vending machine. So they have the temperature settings also in between the vending machine only. Yeah. So next thing is Kitto Kato, that is Kit Kat. So all of you have know about this Kit Kat chocolate. Many of you have eaten it also. So basically, in Japan, they have bizarre flavors of Kit Kat. Many flavors are there, like wasabi, chili garlic flavor, grilled corn flavor also, salted watermelon, and etc. etc. They have many flavors of Kit Kat which we haven't heard yet and which we can't think about of. So they have all those flavors of Kit Kat also in their country. So basically, Japanese students tend to bring Kit Kat to their exams. And its pronunciation in Japanese is Kitto Kato. So Kit Kat in Japanese pronunciation or in Japanese accent, we call it as Kitto Kato, which is similar to Japanese word Kitto Katsu. So basically, the Japanese word Kitto Katsu means you will definitely win. This Katsu means to win. So basically, they took it as a motivation, like I'll give my best in my exam. So as a good luck, they keep that chocolate with them because of its name. So it's also a part of their culture only. Now, next thing, many of you are very fond of, that is anime. So basically, Japan is the hub of animation. Okay, all the cartoons and everything are from Japanese anime industry only. So basically, hand-drawn and computer animation is originated from Japan. Japan is also known as hub of animation, as Japanese anime is worldwide famous. In whole world, the animation of Japan is very much famous. So we all are watching some cartoons like Doraemon, Shin-chan, all of that cartoons that are also originated from Japan's anime only. So Japanese anime play a vital role in all the animation series. So now, last thing for today's session, in the interesting part of Japan is fake foods. So basically, this fake food in Japanese is known as shokuhin sampuru. Shokuhin sampuru. Shokuhin yani food, and sampuru means sample. So also it is known as fake food or fake samples. That are the model and replica of the food items which you can order inside the store. So these are commonly used in restaurants to represent the dishes available inside. So you can see the dishes, the replicas, and can choose that what dish you want to have, and you can order it inside. So these fake foods are made up of basically plastic, and it is very similar to the real food inside. So you can't just make a differentiation like it is fake food or it is real. So it's that much similar to that. So it's their art. So now in all the Japanese facts we have studied, so we have seen like many things of art and anime and the culture. So in जापान में बेसिकली हर एक चीज उनका आर्ट रिप्रेजेंट करती है, उनकी टेक्नोलॉजी रिप्रेजेंट करती है, उनका एनिमे रिप्रेजेंट करती है. सो बहुत सारे इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट्स आपको मोटिवेशन देते हैं टू लर्न द लैंग्वेज, टू नो मोर अबाउट देयर कंट्री, टू नो मोर अबाउट द लैंग्वेज. सो ऑल द फैक्ट्स एंड थिंग्स मेक यू go forward to the language. So that's the basic motive of telling all those facts which give you motivation for learning the language. So now, if you have any question regarding the facts and anything, if you want to ask, you can.
No, ma'am, please move ahead.
Okay. So now we are going to start with the benefits of learning language. If we are learning any language, the first question arises, what is the use to learn this language? If we are learning this language, we are investing our time, everything. So what is the benefit? So every one of us think about it once, and it's important also to think about the benefit, and everything is very much important before opting any language. So now it's a very important part. Oh, sorry. Okay. So it's a very important part about the language, that benefits of learning Japanese. So basically, Japan is a leader in many sectors like automobiles, animation, electronics, computers, IT sector, manufacturing, infrastructure, and many more. So do you know that Indian IT engineers are the backbone of Japanese IT sector? So basically, Japanese IT sector is included of many Indian IT engineers. So for those who are studying science and who are engineers from background, so they have a very vital role in Japan's IT sector. So you can easily go and do work in Japan's IT sector. So basically, out of those also, every one of you have very much scope in this sector. Basically, currently about 1,400 Japanese companies, including all those automobiles, infra, electronics, MNCs, and animations. Total more than 1,400 Japanese companies have branches in India. And out of it, many Japanese ventures are going on. Like the metro project. The metro make our life very convenient. All of you agree to that fact. So basically, the metro project is also opted from Japan only. And nowadays a new project is going on, that is bullet train project. So that bullet train project is also from Japan. So all those projects and treaties and the companies which are investing in our country, so these all places are the high scope for us. So we can make our career in the language very easily, because we have so much of scope, so much of countries, and so much of companies here. So basically some companies I will tell you, that is Honda, Panasonic, Fujitsu, Hitachi, Toshiba, Yamaha, Sony, Toyota, Suzuki, and many more. So basically in all those companies you can work as a translator or as an engineer and everything. So basically the people of Japan, they don't know the any of English or either Hindi. So they need a translator and everything like that to just communicate, because communication is a basic big barrier. So basically all those facts also make you work in these companies. So now many of you have a keen interest to go and work in Japan, or want to study in Japan. So here is a most important thing I want to enlighten here also. So basically in recent years, like from 2014, the government of Japan and India signed a treaty together. So in that treaty, they have signed a treaty like TITP program. So TITP program, in this program, basically you all have must heard about the fact that Japan has a decline in the population. So they don't have manpower. So they need manpower from other countries. So they signed a treaty with India, so that the people who can who wish to work in Japan, they can just do the basic level like N5 and N4, and they can work there under the TITP program. So TITP program is of 5 years program. So you can work in their agriculture sector or industrial sector, or factories and every places like that, or like nursing or caretaking, all those things. It's a basically intern program. So you can work there for 5 years, and all the accommodation and everything are provided by the government only. So it's a very great opportunity if someone wants to work there. So you can go by TITP, and then you can set your further career there. So basically the economic relationship between the both countries have expanded, and as a result the trade between the two countries has been increased. And basically Japan has one of the best education system as well. So the students who have keen interest to go Japan for the higher studies, so they also can go there for their higher studies. And यहाँ पर भी एक बहुत important fact है which I want to tell you all. That fact is the government of Japan, they basically allow each and every student who is who have been there for the purpose of study. So the government allow them to work 4 hours per day as a part time. So you can earn also. So आप वहाँ रहने के साथ साथ earn भी कर सकते हैं. So by earning and getting experience, आपको वहाँ पे employment के काफी ज्यादा rules, regulations and बहुत सारी चीजों का पता चलेगा, जिसके बाद आप वहाँ पे अपनी studies complete करने के बाद you can also go there again with the work visa also. So all those things are make example of your career asset. So your study can be a part of your career also if you want to go in Japan. So all those things are very much important for your career perspective as well. Yeah. So is there any questions? Okay.
There are several students, those who wanted to inquire for study in Japan. So I would request everyone to just contact us directly. And we have a separate counseling team who can counsel you for the Japan visa process and admission process. So if there are a student in the webinar as well, so if they wanted to know about any admission process or visa processing, so they